With the Yu-Gi-Oh! North America National Championship coming around within a week and a half from the time of recording, I thought it'd be best to take a look at some sealed prices. We're going to take a look at what's been performing the best between all of the major TCGs and what we could see for the next 6 months or so, rest of 2022. Let's go ahead and get right on into it. So we are looking at ICV2's some of their charts for the past couple of, I'd say probably 8 to 12 months approximately. They report basically every single week on collectible card games, hobby games, board games, everything like that. They have been doing this for quite a while, and this doesn't necessarily represent the health of the competitive scene because there are a bunch of different factors that go into sales of a trading card game and other, again, board games and other hobby games. This is just based on the overall sales based on their period of time that they're recording, that they've reported, or that their third parties have recorded. Namely, TCG Player will release data every month based on sales and the top 15 best-selling sealed product on the website. And TCG Player, I think, is the #1 marketplace right now, kind of to determine the pre-order prices and just overall health of the market. For singles mostly. Sealed is a different story. That's just for when a new set comes out, say Astral Radiance with Pokemon. That set came out, but you're not going to really find sealed over the long term on TCG Play. You're probably going to shift more to eBay because it's easier to track there. We can get into that in a different video, of course. But they have just released a report. This came out a couple of days ago for the top sealed. So you guys will see this on screen. You'll see the whole chart. We're going to take a look at the top 25 sealed products. So #1 is actually Astral Radiance. That is the effectively Pokemon's equivalent of Dimension 4. So that is their early spring or late spring, early summer set. That's their main set. Really, really strong product. Lots of cool stuff in there. So I was expecting, I don't really think that can be contested too much, that Astral Radiance is the #1 thing, and especially because of Pokemon collectors, they've kind of been creeping up over the past couple of years, namely because, again, Logan Paul exists. There's just been a lot more demand for Pokemon sealed rather than singles. Pokemon competitive scene's very healthy. We do track it as well. Pretty good. The NAIC, so Pokemon's equivalent of Nationals, has just concluded last week. One of our fellow YouTubers actually won it at OzoneTCG. So I'm not surprised, honestly. None of this surprises me that a Pokemon sealed product and the most recent one is #1. #2, actually, though, is Yu-Gi-Oh's Ghost from the Past, the second haunting. The display box, specifically, I think it has 4 or 5 of the little cartons in there. But overall, sealed is down compared to the past, from the beginning of when they were introduced to the end of the month. So beginning of May, end of May, kind of everything is down overall. That's kind of expected. Usually they're not going to appreciate immediately, especially with Pokemon. Once a set is out of standard in that game, generally it will see those increases in prices because it tends to be 2 or 3 years. In Pokemon, it's exponential growth with sealed box prices, and that's been the trend for many years at this point, not just because of social media and everything from there. But #3 is Brilliant Stars. So this was Pokemon's equivalent of Battle of Chaos. This came out in early February in the TCG. So I'm, again, not surprised, but honestly, it has had the least decrease in price. It went, you guys can see, it went from $143.69 to $140.90, so less than $3 as a difference. It's because Brilliant Stars is really hard to get. It is one of the best standard sets ever created in the TCG for Pokemon, so I'm not surprised. Arceus V starting that set is incredible. I'm really not surprised that it's still up there. It's just really hard to get sealed prices or sealed boxes for it, and sealed cases almost impossible to find because distributors have just been overloaded for the past couple of months trying to get and maintain sealed. You guys can check out Cardinal Gaming. Mason over there talks about it all the time. He's had trouble, and Cardinal Gaming is a huge supplier too, specifically a vendor. So I'm really not surprised there either. Dimension Force, though, also pretty strong for booster box. It's not uncommon to see them fall, but honestly hasn't fallen that much, from $65.60 to $61.99 for a sealed booster box. Pretty good, actually, indication, even though Dimension Force I don't think is being opened as much right now. we've seen prices cooling down, even with Therions being explosive, even Punks being explosive. But I'm glad to see that it's actually still holding strong, because it is still a really good product, especially compared to Battle of Chaos overall. Weaker, but the second half of 2022 for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to be insane. Pre-orders have already gone in, specifically allocation for distributors have already been submitted months ago. For Power of the Elements, again, we have 3 cases. We'll be opening that on the channel. And then Darkwing Blast was actually just due not even 3 weeks ago for distributors. It's going to be also a slam hit. Power of the Elements, I think, is the next Duelist Alliance, just with the way everything is power crept from previous themes to new themes. It's going to be hard to compete with some of the older themes, especially once Adventure gets hit in the TCG here. Yeah, so I think Power of the Elements is just going to stay strong. I think it's going to be one of the best sealed boxes to hold. Same with like Rise of the Duelist. Rise of the Duelist was a lot like Duelist Alliance in terms of value. I think, again, for the competitive aspect, though, Power of the Elements will be the second Duelist Alliance and probably one of the best sets ever. Easily top 10, easily top 5. Again, maybe even those top 3. Because there are a lot of good sets in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be hard to compete, but I think, again, Power of the Elements and Darkwing Blast. Darkwing Blast, we actually just had news yesterday of new Sprite cards. They're busted. One of them's generic as a trap. We'll feature that at some point after the Yu-Gi-Oh! North American National Championship. I think sealed overall for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to be in a pretty good direction. I don't see any reason why to worry about anyone saying that, oh, well, there might be, fewer pre-sales because, people are ordering less Darkwing Blast. They're on waves, right? So first wave, you're not ordering as much, say the big Yu-Gi-Oh! Vendors out here aren't ordering as much. You're going to see that later on. Probably within the first month of release, then prices are going to cool. And supply will tighten there, and then eventually it'll be relaxed a little bit more once the meta kind of shifts into the proper place, and once the second wave of Darkwing Blast comes out. There's a lot of speculation with that, and a lot of incorrect information regarding how that works going around right now. A lot of people don't actually talk to distributors, they're just talking to the vendors, and typically vendors aren't going to talk about their distributors at all, especially to other YouTube channels. I know this because I have contact with distributors. There's really no reason to worry about pre-sales or supply or anything. If you're buying sealed, that's a different story, though, because I don't think most Yu-Gi-Oh! Players at least aren't really worried about sealed booster box prices to hold unless they are more so collecting, because honestly, it's really hard to collect and play unless you're relatively wealthy. That's just how it is. Vendors, I wouldn't even worry about it. They're going to have different information. They're going to say different information compared to what they're actually doing, because they have different agendas compared to YouTubers and those plugging whatever they have. We do it sometimes too, but we try and be transparent with you guys on what's going on with the market, because ultimately, if you guys know what's going on, it's better just for the market in general. It's a lot more fair and a lot more balanced for everyone, including us, including you guys. So again, I'll tell you guys any information I have that I can about sealed booster boxes, sealed cases, print runs, anything like that. Remember that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is print to demand, so first wave allocation, that's going to be its own thing, and then there's going to be a second print run of sealed cases. So in this case, Darkwing Blast specifically, because there was a lot of drama regarding it recently. But I wouldn't worry about it. But with the rest of this list, we can see Commander Legends. This is Baldur's Gate. This set is not good, and the prices do reflect that. It's dropped more than $40, which, again, if you want to buy it, pick it up. I'm not gonna. No one's gonna stop you. Don't let that detract you. If you like the set, cool. Overall, apparently it's just not a good set for Magic. I've heard a bunch of stuff from that, but I'm not too into Magic. I don't really care for it. I just kind of look at the sealed prices and go from there. But Evolving Skies, Pokemon, again, I actually do play competitively as well. Pokemon Evolving Skies, I'm not surprised that, again, sealed prices are dropping overall, but it's still not as bad as a decrease. And this was the August or September set. I can't remember which for Pokemon. Really good set. A bunch of evolutions in here. Again, not surprised that it's still holding strong at over $150 a box. It's still increased compared to what it was. I think sealed boxes in that game are like 120 to 140, something like that. Typically where vendors and distributors tend to price it at least for consumers to purchase. Mostly vendors, because there are very few distributors who will ever sell sealed products to the average person. You typically have to have a registered business in order to sign up with a distributor. That's cool too. We're going to skip over Baldur's Gate at number 8 and other ones because this is the display booster, or booster display, whatever. So that's a collector set. There are a bunch of different things around here, but the Evolving Skies booster case, again, barely dropping, $40, like $3. That's still not bad. That's basically what Baldur's Gate dropped to. That's just for a case, so they're almost $1,000 a pop. You get 6 boxes per case for Pokemon, as opposed to the 12 for Yu-Gi-Oh! Bunch of different things to keep track of. That's how it is. New Awakening. This is actually really interesting to see that Digimon's doing really well. I'm not surprised. It's a very popular card game, and I'm glad it's taking off because Digimon is cool. I mean, that's how it is. You guys will see that in the next couple charts that we have over here for MyZV2. Yeah, so good to see that it's still doing strong. It's a top 10, but it's not. I think it's the only Digimon set here. Yeah, so it's going to be the only Digimon set in this top 25 chart, just because I don't think a lot of people actually buy sealed product for it. I think it's mostly stores that are buying it from distributors who then sell it either in person or just opening it for singles or packs or whatever for Digimon tournaments. I know Digimon has really good prize support, and I know it's a fun game, so I'm glad to see it on here. It's a good game so far. It's been out for a while now. I think a little over a year from the official release in English. Yeah, good to see that it's doing well. And then Astral Radiance, again, the Elite Trainer boxes, kind of different than booster boxes, and overall, they tend to be the same price, or just a little bit more, up to maybe $100, $150 over the course of like 5 or 6 years. But seeing it drop a couple dollars is fine. I mean, people are opening less because there's also the Pokemon Center version, which that has more things in it, and it has exclusive sleeves you can only get from Pokemon Center pre-orders for it. Really hard to get those because people tend to either bot or just immediately buy them out as soon as they come out. And then the Astral Radiance booster case, again, dropping actually $170 or almost $170 is big. Honestly, I'm not surprised though, because that ends up being a little bit under $102, $101.50, something like that, per booster box. So I wouldn't be surprised, and the Astral Radiance booster box prices have reflected that, so that makes sense. There's really nothing out of the ordinary there. That's just how it's going to happen. But I think overall, compared to the next main Pokemon set, Lost Origin, I think it is. Yeah, Lost Origin or Lost Abyss, whatever it is. It's overall a weaker product, but still a good product. Fusion Strike, one of the best, standard booster boxes in a couple years now. A really, really strong set. Had one of the best themes or archetypes ever created for standard. UV Strike, or VMAX, completely dominated the tournament until Brilliant Stars came out, and even then it was like still top 2 decks until Astral Radiance. So I'm not surprised that it's still going strong overall with box prices. Pretty good. White Schwartz, I'm not even going to cover. I know absolutely nothing about it. I just know it's weeb stuff, but hey, that's cool to see that it's still around. It's been out for a while now. Bushiroad does manage that and everything, but they have a bunch of different anime promotions, and this one's the Hololive booster boxes. So I'm not surprised, and the rest are, I think, literally all but except for the Celebrations is just Magic stuff and My Hero Academia. Pokemon Celebrations, the Ultra Premium Collections, that is really expensive actually to get. Normally they retail for like $250 to $300. They're really hard to get because they are extremely valuable products. They tend to have exclusive cards you can only get in those sets, so they tend to drive up those singles and tend to drive up in sealed prices that actually appreciate it from $347.52 up to $370. That is a huge jump for that product, considering it is, as far as I'm aware, it's out of print, and I know Celebrations specifically is not having another print run. They've stated that they are not reprinting the set ever. So once it's gone, and once the sealed is all has all been sold from distributors and everything. Whether we see that over the next couple of years, we see loose packs just put into random sealed product. Afterwards, that's it. There are going to be no more celebrations. And honestly, that's probably a good thing for this kind of thing, because these are, again, really expensive products. These are really collectible products. Last one that I remember was in 2017 or 2018. There was like a Shining Lugia. It ended up being like $40 a copy. And it was actually played in a pretty decent competitive Pokemon deck for a while, but that was the most expensive card in the deck. And I think he played like 1 or 2 of those, something like that. Potentially even up to 4. But it was expensive because you could only get that Shining Lugia in a previous premium collection, which again, at the time it was like $200 to $250, something like that. Again, the rest of these are just magic. So let's go and take a look at the differences between the Spring 2021 and Fall 2021 sets. So this is the Spring 2021. This was January to April of last year. You can see the top 10 collectible hobby games. Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not surprised. Magic and Pokemon are the top 2. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is always in the top 3, but I don't think it's ever number 1 overall. Pokemon has steadily been increasing in popularity, again, just because there's been a big boom for the last 2 years, people buying PSA slabs and everything. D&D, Icons of the Realm, those are the little, I guess, figures that go with, I don't know, cards or something. You can play them. I don't know too much about Dungeons & Dragons overall. I just know that they're popular. A lot of hobby shops keep them up. Flesh and Blood, I'm not surprised to see this up here, honestly. Flesh and Blood is a really popular card game, came out technically in 2020. Started, I guess, conception 2017, 2018, and it's just been really going strong. And the idea is just to play it only in the Flesh and Blood. So they're really only in-person events, and has been picking up since then, and that's cool. I'm glad to see new card games. I guess it plays like old school Magic a little bit, so that's cool. Again, Digimon, Card Fight Vanguard, Pathfinder, I think that's another D&D thing. HeroClix, I know those are the little figures things, and then Dragon Ball Super. So not surprised to see Digimon and Vanguard up here, because those are still really popular. Vanguard tends to be really niche, so if you have a Vanguard group in your area, they tend to be like really into the game. I don't know why. I don't get it. Nothing against it. It's really cool to see that there's another Bushiroad game doing really well. But just something interesting here. And then Dragon Ball Super has been on the decline past couple of years. And that is usually because Bandai tends to push some games into the ground, and there's only so much you can do with Dragon Ball, because while there are a lot of characters, I just think that it's limited by the amount of characters you can print that are the same characters overall, because you have like all the main characters like Goku, Vegeta, etc. You can only print those guys so many times as different cards before it just gets confusing, and then just looks like the same thing just from an outsider's perspective. Again, I've heard that it's a really fun game. I've never played it, so nothing against the game. That just, again, outsider's perspective looking in. But Digimon, I am curious to see how this does over the next couple of years, because it seems like a really good game. It seems like it's cheap, affordable, and popular enough. I love Digimon. Really cool. Again, glad to see that there are a lot of different card games rather than the top 3 in the top 10, because this has been really stagnant over the past couple of years. Just from a lot of other games failing. Arden Saga unfortunately went under late 2019, early 2020. Haven't heard it since then. It's gone. So glad to see that there's new card games on here. But this was the Spring 2021, Fall 2021. They released this information a couple months ago in April. Just kind of want to look back on it. So Pokemon actually jumped to the number 1 spot compared to Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not surprised here because, again, we had Evolving Skies come out, and then Fusion Strike come out, and Fusion Strike Slam Dunk, Evolving Skies Slam Dunk set as well. Wouldn't be surprised if once they release this data, probably within the next couple weeks, maybe a month or two, we'll see the spring of 2022, we'll probably see Pokemon as number 1 again. Simply because Brilliant Stars was also a smash hit. Again, one of the best sets, so not surprised. I know Digimon did fall a little bit, but Flesh and Blood, because a lot of states have been opening for recreational activities, post-COVID crisis. I can see Flesh and Blood doing really well. Weiss Schwartz is really interesting. I don't know too much about it. It just looks cool. It's just another Japanese card game. Same with Card Fight. Again, both Bushiroad games, and they've done a bunch of stuff in the past. Interesting to see that those sales have been going up. I don't think people are playing Weiss Schwarz in person nearly as much, but I guess it's just really collectible, and there are a lot of really cool anime partnerships with that. So cool to see that that's back on the chart compared to the previous quarter. From there, again, Vanguard, it's probably always going to be up there so long as the game's supported. Digimon did fall a little bit, but it's still up there as well, and again, glad to see it. And Dragon Ball Super just scraping by. So that was kind of an overview of sealed product based on these charts. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Again, I think with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's going to be really, really hard to not see the impact of sealed just selling so quickly with Power of the Elements and Darkwing Blast. That's even before any of the side sets. I don't think most of the side sets are going to be great, besides Magnificent Mavens. The Battle of Legends, Crystal's Revenge, and the Crystal Beast Structure Deck, as well as some of the Speed Duel, I think GX boxes, something like that. I just don't see them doing as well, but the sets that are really good for the rest of the year, so the three again, Power of the Elements, Darkwing Blast, Magnificent Mavens, they're going to be smash hits. If you guys can get them from locals, support your LGS. That is always going to be the way to play in the game, simply because there aren't still a lot of regionals going on. There are more compared to the past couple of years, but compared to maybe 2017, 2018, not as many, simply because people have to open those up. We'll talk about kind of the stores closing and everything, and sealed being down in these games overall in another video. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you as always for watching.